Hello, good morning. Looks like we still have folks coming in.
Good morning.
Good morning, John.
Good morning.
Good morning, Trisha. All right, I'm gonna give it another minute and then I'll go ahead and kick things off. Just for everyone's information on the call, I am recording this session, so I will make it available to my team in case anyone misses any portion. We'll be happy to share with you as a follow-up. All right, I think I'm gonna go ahead and get started. Is everyone able to hear me okay? If I could just get a verbal confirmation now that I'm sharing, I'm unable to.
Yes, I can.
Good to go.
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. All right, well, welcome. Thank you all for joining this morning. I'm going to be taking us through a very high level review of what the buyer's process looks like when it comes to buying a home, whether it's first time investment or secondary. So wanted to welcome you guys. My name is Prina Khan. I'm with Sunah Ventures Real Estate. And today, like I said, we're gonna take you through a very brief review. I also wanted to highlight that this particular event is sponsored by Exit Platinum Realty. So a little bit about me. Sorry about that. So as I mentioned, I am with Sunah Ventures, which is my own company, and I am working with John Johnson, who's on this call. He heads up the Johnson Signature Group, and he is also with Exit Platinum Realty. I am a sales associate, and John is a broker associate. So just to talk a little bit about who I am personally, as you guys get to know me, I'm a very personable person. So I like to share stories and kind of relate. I professionally have been in advertising technology. So think about like agencies, Coca-Cola commercials, the annoying ads that you see online when you're on Facebook, for over 20 years. And 5 years ago, I started the process of buying my own first home. And it was very exciting. I had all the feels. But there were so many things that my agent did not educate me on. And so 5 years later, I'm kind of addressing a lot of those issues, and we'll talk a little bit about that. And so a dear friend of mine who was taking a course in real estate poked me and said, why don't we do this on Sundays? It'll be fun. So I followed her lead and found out that not only is it really fun, there's so much to learn. There's so much information from contractual, understanding how to navigate the market, the different players that get involved. It's really not just finding a home, signing on the dotted line and moving in. And so I became really passionate about it, having gone through that experience myself. So I decided to start a business focused mainly on education first. I love working with buyers. I'm happy to work with sellers. And now that I am associated with the Johnson Group at Exit Platinum Realty, I have an arsenal of team members that are behind me. So I'm really excited to introduce you guys and get started today. As I mentioned, I am here with John Johnson. So John, if you want to take a couple minutes just to say hello.
Hi guys, thank you and good morning. So as Prina mentioned, I am also with Exit Platinum Realty as a broker salesperson. And I am part of the Johnson Signature Group, which is a plethora of professionals. And we're not just realtors. So we have home inspectors, we have mortgage reps, we have appraisers, we have surveyors, we have attorneys, the whole gamut when it comes to a house, how to get into it, how to stay in your house, how to maintain your home, and how to keep your home. The whole purpose of that team is to help you, the end consumer, and most importantly, provide all the education that you need so you know exactly what you're getting yourself into, how to stay in your particular circumstance, and how we can help you in any way possible. Hence, Prina's presentation this morning. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Prina.
Thanks, John. All right, so let's jump right in. As I mentioned, this is going to be a very abridged version. Typically, the way I work with my clients and the team in general is we'll start with a full buyer intake or client intake where we ask all the questions, get your thoughts on areas, prices, all the things that you are comfortable sharing with us. But like I said, today we're going to keep it short and simple. So why use a realtor will be the first topic we cover. What can I expect from a realtor? The buyer's timeline, a quick snapshot of what that looks like. Couple of mortgage types, most common mortgage types, I should say. And then as a bonus, including some moving tips, things that you would never think of. All right, so why use a realtor? If you're versed at all in how real estate works, you know that there is that commission, right, that's paid out. And as someone who's looking to buy a home, it's really important to know that that is not something you need to be concerned with. With the rare exceptions, that is handled from the person selling their home and with their agent. So moving that aside, know that in 2018, the year of COVID, 88% of people who bought homes purchased with a licensed real estate agent or broker. Why is that important? Navigating the market in general pre-COVID was already a little bit cumbersome, and maybe, even a little bit, stressful, if you will. But with COVID, there are so many changes. There's changes to, the way certain laws work. There are certain requirements and restrictions that are present. It's really important to have someone there to hold your hand. Most importantly, all licensed agents are members in New Jersey of the National Association of Realtors, also known as NARS, and we're held to a very high code of conduct. So there are rules and regulations that we have to follow that the general public isn't even aware of. And not to mention with Exit Platinum Realty, there's an even higher bar that's set in terms of, the main focus being customer satisfaction and education. So, knowing that you have someone that's held to certain standards, code of ethics is really important. In addition to that, realtors will have access to various multiple listing systems. You'll hear us refer to it as MLSs. There are multiple. There's Garden State, there's North Jersey. And so what this is the real-time platforms that agents are using to either, make updates to listings, remove listings, update statuses. So in comparison, on the commercial side, for the layperson who's looking for a home, of course, you're going to go to Zillow or Realtor.com. However, a lot of these sites take up to 72 hours to update the feeds from the multiple listing systems. So what does that mean for you? That means Friday night, you're relaxing with your glass of wine, you're looking for your home in Montclair, you find a home for under $500,000 and you cannot believe it. You reach out to your agent, you send the screenshot, I need to see this home. But what you don't know is 9 a.m. that morning, the home went under contract. And of course you wouldn't know that because it wasn't updated on that commercial site. So it is really important that you work very closely with your agent because they're going to have the most up-to-date resource information that's posted on the multiple listing services. So if that's not reason enough to work with a licensed agent, I don't know what else would be. And out of the 88% of buyers that used a broker, 50% of those buyers chose to work with an agent just to help navigate the market, because there's, again, so many outstanding questions and things that may not be obvious to someone who's going through the process the first time. Working with my team at Sunah Ventures and Exit Realty, the Johnson Group, one thing I'll say about my team is we truly take a human approach. I've worked in ad tech for a very long time, and I see how things are very monotonous and automated. And that part I don't love, because I love people. Even in COVID, you know, I'm the person that's hosting Zoom parties and sending cards in the mail and driving by to see people, even though we can't socially engage. So it's really important to me to get to know who I'm representing and who I'm partnering with, as well as my team. So what can you expect from your realtor? So for me, the most important piece is communication. It's important that I convey, you know, what the expectations are, what I'm capable of doing, and when I'm not, I will be the first to say I'm not sure and lean on that amazing team that I have working with me. My focus and my team's focus is really to become a trusted advisor, not just your agent, not just that person or that guy that's going to show me a home, but really someone who is vested in your interests, someone who understands the desire, the motivation for making the decision, and has your best interest top of mind. And so, you know, we're going to dig into things like, why are you buying the home? Why do you have these requirements? Why are these nice to haves? How much can you afford? How much do you want to spend? Two different things. We'll talk about that in a little bit. And in addition to, you know, scheduling, sending those MLS, the multiple listing system updates for homes that meet the criteria that you're looking for, I'll be there to schedule those tours. In some cases, we may need to sign off on, you know, COVID addendums and things like that. Leave it to myself and my team to take care of those things and facilitate, whether it's a virtual showing, you know, a video, a FaceTime call, you name it, we do all of it. And so the other piece too is professional expertise. So anybody, you know, any agent can log into MLS, send you pictures, advise you of houses that are available. But a really good agent, again, someone who has your, you know, thoughts in mind, top of mind, is going to be there to advise you. So even from the first showing, that lovely home in Montclair, an experienced agent is going to walk in the door and be able to advise you, you know what, that looks like that might be a leak. There's something happening around the windowsill, or I noticed there's a little bit of a crack between the foundation and the concrete on the outside of the home. Things like that, the average person will not pick up right away, especially when you're so excited to see the home. You're probably already in your mind envisioning where your furniture is going to go, you know, how many bedrooms you're going to need, what's going to be your color scheme, you know, what kind of deck furniture you want. And so it's really important to have someone there also to do that initial inspection. Yes, we'll talk about that in a little bit. There will be an actual inspection where an inspector comes out, a licensed inspector, but it's also important to have a heads up, because maybe there's something on that list that's a complete deal breaker for you. And so your agent is going to be able to point that out. And then lastly, I've said this before, the power of the Exit organization. Exit Platinum Realty has been around since 1996, I think it is. And we are an international company that really focuses on the human approach, potential, and exceptional client service. The additional plus to that, the Exit organization gives back to the community. So a portion of every sale made goes back to the community. And that is truly important for me personally. And I think it should be important for all of us. So let's talk about the timeline. So there's 7 steps generally. And the first and second one, I'd say, are interchangeable. I would argue that you want to find a reputable agent first, but no problem. You decided to buy a house. That's the first step. Your reasons, where you want to buy, your budget. You find your agent. Great. The third step is pre-approval. So pre-COVID, there was a notion of getting pre-qualified. That's nice to have. You meet with a loan officer, mortgage banker, or mortgage broker. They go through your financial profile and they advise you how much house you can afford, what your rates might look like, if there's any private mortgage insurance involved. My recommendation, when you're ready to look for houses, you go out to market with a pre-approval. That is a guarantee from your lender that you will be able to move forward with X amount. And usually those approvals last anywhere from 30 to 90 days. So it's really important that, you know, from a timeline perspective, you keep that in mind and share that with your agent. An experienced agent is going to reach out to your loan officer, broker, or mortgage banker, and there will be communication. The other thing in between this and actually, you know, looking or searching for homes is if you don't have an attorney and an inspection company at top of mind, then this is an opportunity to tap into the resources that my team brings, because we have a plethora of folks on deck, from, you know, legal services to inspectors and even loan officers if you're uncertain or haven't found a bank to your liking. So I like to include that in between steps 3 and 4. So now you have all that in place. We're gonna start looking for homes. Great. So you find that lovely house in Montclair and you're ready to make an offer. It checks off all the things on your list. And we'll talk about lists in just a second. And now you're ready to move forward. And so you're going to contact your agent, myself or someone on my team, and let them know that you're ready to put an offer in. Now, when I talk about a house that meets all your requirements and your lists, I always tell my buyers that you have to have 2 lists. The first is a requirements list. The second is a nice to have list, because in today's market, there's no perfect home. Even if you built your home from scratch, it's probably not going to be perfect. You're going to find things that you want to make updates and changes. So what I recommend, if there's a space requirement, you need 2 bedrooms, or you need 3 because of the children, or maybe a 4th because of the parents that come up and visit. That could be a requirement. Having, you know, a patio versus a deck might be a nice to have. Having a pool might be a nice to have, because know this, once you move into your home and you start building that equity, that's your home. You know, as long as you get the required permits from the city, you can make changes as you like. You want to extend your kitchen, you want to add on that deck, you want to throw in that in-ground pool, you can do that. So it's very important to keep in mind, and don't be discouraged. If the house doesn't check off the dream list, that's okay, as long as it meets your basic requirements. So now you move forward with your offer. And while you're doing that, your agent, again, your experienced agent, my team, we will be there to make sure you check off that list, things that you should be considering, you know, in between that offer going under attorney review before it hits to be actually under contract. So things like, you know, making sure you have a good home insurance company in top of mind. Maybe it's a USAA, or maybe it's State Farm. Maybe you're going to do a bulk package. If there's going to be any need for immediate construction work, putting you in touch with people that can help you, just to be prepared. It's all about preparation, so you're not caught with any surprises. The final step is going to be closing on your house. Exciting. That's when you go in, you sign on the dotted line, and you take your keys and you're ready to move in. However, one other thing I like to point out, especially as a first-time home buyer, a lot of folks think that the closing costs that are associated with buying a home is just that 3% or 20%, if you can afford it, that you put down on a home. It's important to know there are going to be other expenses, such as perhaps prepaid utilities that need to be taken care of. There may be outstanding taxes, you know, if it's in the middle of a quarter. You know, there's going to be an attorney's fee because you want an attorney working with you, and for the inspector. So it's really important to know you also have to reserve funds for that. Again, a licensed loan officer is going to walk you through that. We have referrals that we can put you in touch with, and they will guide you and keep those little checklists at the top of mind and guide you through that process. So I'm going to quickly talk about the mortgage types that are available. Again, your loan officer, mortgage banker, mortgage broker will be able to provide more detail. And it's all about your financial profile here. But FHA, everyone knows first-time home buyers loans. What's attractive about these loans? They are typically lower down payments that are involved. They're backed by the U.S. Federal Housing Administration. And the other attractive thing about these loans is there's the opportunity, if needed, to add on a construction component. They're called 203K loans if you find it a somewhat distressed property that needs a little work before you move in. The next common is conventional. These loans are not backed by the government per se, or secured by a government entity. And typically they start at a minimum of 3% down, but when people think conventional, they're usually in the market to put anywhere from 10 to 20% down. Now with either of these options, FHA or conventional, there is a private mortgage insurance component. Your loan person is going to walk you through all of that, but that's something to consider. And you can always weigh the options and look at the numbers to see what program will work best for you. And then we have the VA, the Veterans Association loan. It's backed by Veteran Affairs Office. And what's really attractive about these loans, if you can get them, is there's no down payment required. And typically, all the closing costs, the majority of closing costs can be rolled into that mortgage. So you can effectively move into your home with no money out of pocket. So we're going to talk a little bit about moving tips, things that I didn't even think of until after I became a licensed realtor, and I've bought a home and I've moved various apartments and it just never dawned on me. So preparation, preparation, preparation. If you have pets, you may want to schedule some kind of accommodation. So for those, 1 or 2 days that you're going through the moving process, you can be assured that they're in a safe place. You don't run the risk of your pets escaping out of the gate or jumping out of the car. One less thing to worry about. You want to make sure you have reputable movers in mind that are going to be taking care of your items. I cannot tell you the number of times in my own personal experiences, I've had things go missing. I've had furniture completely destroyed that I had to just leave on the sidewalk, or movers that were 6+ hours late to arrive. So it's really important. You want to find someone that has references, and has some kind of insurance to protect your things. You want to think about updating your address with the post office well in advance. And if you have, banking institutions, you may want to pick up the phone and make those changes immediately so that you don't have to wait the 4 to 6 weeks that it takes for those USPS moving updates to come to fruition. And then moving day, go bag. When your wife is going into labor or she's in that last trimester and you have the go bag next to the bed, you want to have a go bag for moving day. You want to make sure you have your keys, maybe even a spare set. If you don't have a camera on your phone, which I think 99.9% of us do, you want to have some kind of camera on hand so that wherever you're moving from, you can take a final walkthrough once everything is cleared out and cleaned, and pictures. You also want to confirm any logistics times with your movers, the moving company, make sure that they have the address. You just never know. And you want to have a phone charger. There's nothing worse than being in the middle of moving, realize that you're on 3% and your charger's in one of those boxes that's God knows where. And then post move, you want to have a checklist. You want to make sure that everything has been delivered, check for any damage. If there are items that are missing, you want to contact the moving company. You want to also double check with the postal service that your change of address has gone through. And anything else that could possibly come up. The other thing, if it's a home that has a lot of window exposure, you may want to think about pre-ordering some kind of window treatment so that for security purposes, the rooms that are required, you have coverings up. So these are things that, your agent is going to walk you through and answer questions and just guide you in addition to showing you houses. So the next step, get in touch with me or my team. We will be happy to give you a more detailed, specific buyer consultation, get to know you. We can also guide you if you haven't already had your pre-approval. We can introduce you to financial institutions, loan officers that we've worked with in the past. We also have access to a plethora of, contractors, lawyers, you name it. And once we have that set, let's go see some houses. So to contact me and my team, you can get in touch with us on Facebook, Instagram, my website, and of course by phone. So I am going to stop sharing my screen. And I wanted to give everyone an opportunity to ask any questions that they may have, or just anything. So we're here. We'll be on for another 3 to 4 minutes. If anyone has questions, feel free to unmute yourself and ask away.
So Prina, this is John. I'm going to jumpstart the conversation. So approximately how long would it take for someone to buy a home?
That's a great question. There are so many variables that go into that. It could happen, especially in this market, as quickly as 2 months from the time that you connect with our team, of course. But if something comes up along the way, things could get extended. So it's good to have that in mind and have a time frame. And an example of that might be, things are moving right along. I'm working with you. We go out to see a home, the first home, you love it. You're ready to make the offer. We do our visual inspection, but somehow, we find out from the inspector that there's a major foundational issue that we just didn't pick up because that's not our expertise. That could be something that puts the deal on pause, and maybe there are some back and forth with the attorneys. It could potentially, end the deal. Maybe you decide it's something that you don't want to take on. So it really depends. It could go anywhere from, a couple months to as long as 6 months. And then there's the actual the closing piece with the financial org. It really depends on how quickly they can churn out all the documentation, updating your financial profile and push that out. That typically takes between 30 to 45 days on the books. I've seen it done quicker, especially in this market. Sometimes it takes longer, depending on the communication and if the buyer is really on deck in terms of turning things around and getting information updated as quickly as possible. All right. If we don't have any other questions, we are at 10:30. So I'm going to say thank you again for joining me and spending time with me this morning. Look forward to hearing from all of you. Again, my name is Prina Khan with Sunah Ventures Real Estate, backed by Exit Platinum Realty, here with John Johnson from the Johnson Group. We are here if you have any questions. And like I said, just reach out if you'd like a follow-up buyer's consultation where we can walk you through details based on specifically what you're looking for. Thanks, everyone. Have a great weekend, and we'll be in touch. Take care.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.